Back of the bus, back at it with another episode review of Invincible. This time we are doing Invincible Season 3, Episode 6. The episode is titled, All I Can Say Is I'm Sorry. Now, obviously, we want to get into discussing Powerplex and everything that kind of came with that situation, but it's very complex. I kind of wanted to get into some of the other things that we see, namely training Oliver and the the villain being upset that he is simply nothing more than a training.
I'm not fair practice. Yeah, you are.
Yes, hilarious. I thought that line was hilarious, and I think it's funny that Oliver is clearly upset that he knows he can handle more, but at the same time, Invincible's got to take it easy on him, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to gauge how this kid is like maturing because of his DNA, his Thraxan DNA. So you never really know how far he's gained. I think that Mark being his de facto dad is really an interesting little dynamic because like he probably sees a little bit of himself in Oliver, but then at the same time he has to be a caretaker for him. He does all the things that Debbie can't do as a mom. Right. Mm-hmm. When he flies off, he flies with him, holds his hand. He walks him through, crime fighting and how to go about it and gives him directions and stuff like that. Most of that stuff will be done by your parent. Yeah. So, you'd have to think that all of that being done by your older sibling is going to have an adverse effect the same way it would if it was your parent doing it the whole time. So see how he shapes out little Oliver.
Sure. Oliver's clearly got some questions about who his dad is, and it's conflicting because
why won't people like dad anymore? You don't even know, dog. You don't even know.
But it seems like at times throughout the season, even that Mark himself has to grasp what his dad is, and the Viltrumite in himself. So
why he's trying to read everybody else the riot act.
Yeah.
Why he's trying to tell everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, these are clearly very troubling questions, obviously, in this conversation to have with Oliver, but then like he's been kind of pondering the same thing in his head all season, seemingly. So,
I mean, they do have an interesting little dialogue about Nolan, right? Obviously, he's killed a lot of people in his exit from Earth, but at the same time, it's not like he didn't save millions as well, And it's not a 1-to-1. It's not like he can just get a pass from what he did. But in terms of will he ever have a place on Earth ever again, it's not out of the question just because of all the good that he did do while he was there, and then the fights that are to come. Right, he's still going to have to play a role in whatever defense Earth has against the Viltrumites. So,
absolutely. Okay, so speaking of people trying to play a father role, Mark's mom is clearly out here getting along great with this new guy, but he's having troubles in the fact that he can't measure up to what they are.
Fam, wait until Nolan comes back. Wait until Nolan comes back. You think it's going to be hard to measure up now. Wait till the Big Daddy Viltrumite come back in here. Oof. The strongest one.
Oof.
At least the strongest one for right now.
Robot has made a new device.
Figured it out.
Handles, he figured out Homegirl's situation, and she seems very pleased, even though every time he tries to help her before, she gets all pissy. This time she was very, not believing that anything could be done. And now that he just went ahead and did it and brought her a resolution instead of telling her how he can fix her, thinking that she broken the whole time, it just has a little bit of a better connotation. It works out a little bit better. I mean, I just like the fact that she was actually thankful this time and didn't give him
give him shit about it. Yeah.
Rex and his relationship with Homegirl,
my man can't catch a break. Yeah, he can't catch a break, man.
Considering she wants to quit, and
I want to quit, Rex. Why you want to quit now? Why you even come back?
Well, he doesn't know an identity outside of being a superhero, so
true.
This would be completely weird for him.
It would. It would, I get it from both perspectives. Like, if I almost died getting crunched down in some supervillain's neck, then yeah, maybe I'd go do something else with my life. And
Yeah.
then from Rex's perspective, he like, man, what is it you expect me to do? Like, my family sold me here when I was a baby. Like, this is all I know how to do.
But at the same time, it was Rex's doing, him providing her with that meal and giving her a look at what regular life could be like with Rex.
True.
It's kind of his fault.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
not
so,
too.
like, we can't be together, and like I just stay in the Guardians, and you just not be a Guardian, and we just kind of get down like that. Like, we can't, you can't
Well,
be
maybe
my
she's afraid of
Mary
him.
Jane.
Right, but maybe she's afraid of him potentially still losing his life, and so then
Yeah, true. That's what it is. Like, she like, eventually we gonna die. Like, eventually we gonna get got. So I'm just trying to go out like a normal person. I'm not trying to have my head torn off like a mortal, or have my head exploded like Red Guardian, or any of the Guardians. Honestly, I want to go out like any of them.
Facts. Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything besides Powerplex, and then what we see.
Pretty compelling story with him. I feel like there was a little bit of confusion in the motivations. So when he got the job at the CDA, I know I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit. He has, obviously, Powerplex has the sister and the niece that die in the battle in Chicago, where him and his dad, fight through that subway and then down through downtown and then out into the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Powerplex's family gets destroyed in that battle. He then goes on a lifelong saga to make Invincible pay, which kind of starts on a very reasonable track, right? He goes to his local government. He tries to get an investigation started. They are obviously blowing it off. Probably has a whole lot to do with the CDA, keeping, Mark covered in all of that.
Yeah.
So obviously,
and they even have an interesting conversation about the fact that anybody can go into the Pentagon. If they start blowing shit up, then they'll probably get killed. But
here's that's the next part, right? So he infiltrates and he gets his job at the CDA, and that's when they're kind of talking about that. He's like, yeah, man, if you're right, if anybody else infiltrated the Pentagon, they would die, and it's not like they didn't have the recourse to kill Mark either. They had him on his knees. They had to turn it off to once again not have him die.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it at first. I was like, well, y'all know y'all talking about Invincible? Like, what you mean just kill him? What you mean just kill him as a punishment? What does that mean? But then again, I had to think about it. And yeah, they did have him in a vulnerable position and let him leave. Again, I think Cecil still has it in his mind that one day all of this will come back to normal and him and Mark will be able to work together. I don't know if it's going to come back that far. We shall see. But that's probably some of the calculus that he's having with not, just eliminating Mark while he still can. I do think there's going to be a point where Mark is probably closer or even beyond that of Nolan, and that won't even be on the table. So if ever he thought that was going to be something that he needed to do, he would need to do it now. He would need to do it right now, probably needed to do it about a year ago to make sure that it absolutely happens. Yeah. And the fact that he hasn't tells me that he probably still has plans. He actually believes in Mark. At the same time, the way that Mark is acting right now, he can't do nothing with that. We can't work with that. Mm-hmm. But back to Powerplex, the reason why his motivations got a little bit foggy for me, when he starts working at the CDA, he sees Omni-Man holding Invincible up, struggling against his will, getting put through that bus. He watches it over and over and over again. He knows Invincible didn't do that. He knows 100% that Invincible did not try to kill. He was getting his ass kicked through Chicago, not inadvertently killing people, having a haphazard fight. I was getting my ass beat. I was fighting for my life. So the fact that his attention didn't then turn to Nolan and Omni-Man, maybe it was just the fact that Invincible was still on Earth.
That was the only thing I was going to say, is that Omni-Man is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, he can't find Omni-Man. Maybe that's what leveled it out. But the hyper focus on Invincible and only Invincible, who the individual who had no intention, right? Nolan had an intention. Not only was he trying to kill his son and then inadvertently killed your family, but he was trying to take over the world. Invincible was not trying to do that. And so I don't know if they were just trying to show us, a man with a broken mind who can't reason anymore, maybe. But
I
then
can
as they're
see.
go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say I can see thinking irrationally in the fact that some of my closest family members got killed in this situation, but literally never seeing the other side is a little crazy. Like
And then
never thinking of the other
right
side of
there
the
at the end of the episode, obviously he does to himself what he's fighting Invincible for, and
Mhm.
then continues to fight Invincible. So it's like I really struggled with why he was doing some of the things he was doing. All the while, it was still a very compelling story because you were almost rooting for him. You were almost like, well, damn, man, I wish he was going about this another way, but I sure do feel for what happened. Like, there's not that much degree of separation between multiplex or powerplex and Huey from the boys. The
Yeah.
difference is what they decided to do with that energy afterwards, right? I think Huey had similar machinations for A Train, only instead of going into some obsessive compulsive type of state, doing everything in life trying to inch forward to killing A Train, it kind of spun its way into helping people, right? It spun its way into something that helped him in his grieving stage get over his dead girlfriend, right? Helped him move on to somebody else and move on to Annie. Um, with Powerplex, he just kind of stewed in it. He stayed in it. That became his life. Killing Invincible, getting Invincible, right? It wasn't, I don't think there was a complete practical one-to-one to making himself, or excuse me, in between justice and killing Invincible. It was more so making himself feel better in killing Invincible.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I agree. I just wish he wasn't so blinded by, what's clearly irrational thinking or not seeing the whole picture because of his attachment to what happened to, his family members.
And
And I can
also,
understand that, but it's like at the same time, at some point in these years,
yeah,
well, I guess maybe just in general in the time since that incident, you would think he would at least think a different way at some
I
point.
think
But
going forward, the fact that the only way that you can really kill him, or excuse me, yeah, the only way you can kill him is to take the things to remove the adapters from his body, is going to make him a very hard villain for Mark, because he's going to have to cross the line to actually beat him. Can't hit him, can't punch him to death.
yeah,
You're going to literally have to hold him down and rip those things from his body, which is
yeah.
going to be a very violent thing for Mark to do.
Very
So
interesting that he. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if Powerplex is ever a player again for Mark, that's going to be a formidable foe.
Sure. Very interesting that he had the thought in his head about the fact that the Pentagon didn't do anything about Mark, and then he stole the things from them.
Again, broken man, murders his own family in way to try to murder Invincible. I just don't think he was thinking very soundly.
No, but I think it speaks to the small amount of respect that he has for the CDA and the Pentagon, because he thinks they're going to let me get away with it too. Like, I'm just going to get off scot free. Now, obviously, he knew in the end that they were going to come for him once they found out, but like clearly little regard for actually stealing it.
Yeah. Yep.
So I just thought that was interesting as well. In the end, we get a nice little end scene.
I told you.
I
told y'all. My boy
cooking.
Angstrom back. And not only is he back, that boy went and got the multiversal marks. Oh my God.
He got been cooking.
Marks. Got the evil marks. Got the council of marks. Oh, it's over with. It's over.
He been cooking.
Over. You're gonna have to fight the council of marks and then the Viltrumites. Mark gonna get hey man, he better do some push-ups or something.
And if it's the evil marks, they're in touch with their Viltrumite side.
Oh yeah, they ain't holding back at all. Yeah, they ain't holding back.
Oh, it's all oof.
But why would the evil marks help Angstrom? That is the background story I need to see. Yeah, how did he collect? Need to see that. And also, is this the same version of Angstrom? Did he actually die, or is this another multiversal version of Angstrom? Because again, there was no way that he killed all infinite versions of himself in that one explosion at the beginning of season 2. So that's yeah, very interested. Very interested.
Also interesting that we got that in scene because he was obviously spying. Donald told Invincible, like, yeah, homeboy wasn't lying. Cecil wasn't lying about this not coming from us. So
yeah, the fact that Mark just keeps assuming shit to me is just, it's very, it reminds me that he's only like 18, 19, maybe 20 years old.
Yeah.
He just thinks he knows everything. It's very annoying.
Very annoying. But yeah, man, we're leading into a very good place. It sucks that it's only 10 episodes or sucks that it's only 8 episodes because I think we're leading somewhere pretty good with all of this.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather them end it at a peak place than in terms of the season than to try and drag it out and add a bunch of filler that nobody cared about. So it feels like we're using our time adequately every second.
Absolutely.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Give us your thoughts about episode 6 of Invincible here. Make sure you, again, like, share, and subscribe. Share this out to your folks. Let them know that we're doing Invincible reviews. Show up next week for episode 7.
Absolutely. And make sure you check out the playlist full of recaps from previous seasons. We thought about different story arcs throughout the season. And then obviously make sure you come back here. We're dropping these pretty consistently on Monday. So make sure you check us out next Monday at 10 when we do episode 7. Peace.